The Supreme Court, where today the 9 justices heard the most direct challenge to abortion rights in America in decades. The outcome could fundamentally change the rights that women have to their own bodies. Outside the court, passionate protesters on both sides, abortion opponents praying and singing hymns, while abortion rights advocates held up signs like "Hands off my body." Inside the court, the conservative majority appears ready to break precedent and uphold Mississippi's restrictive abortion ban, and in the process, set the stage to overturn or dramatically weaken Roe v. Wade. Today, the justices sparred over that possibility and also the fate of the court itself if Roe were to be overturned. Justices Breyer and Sotomayor openly questioned the other precedents that could go next. According to our latest ABC News poll, 75% of Americans believe a woman and her doctor should make a decision about whether an abortion is necessary, not the government. And it's not only bringing a baby into the world under debate tonight. America is one of the only countries in the world that does not offer paid family leave. Much more on that in a moment. But first, our Devin Dwyer covers the courts for us and has more on the consequential case.
And we will abolish abortion. Hands off our bodies.
For religious and constitutional conservatives, it's a moment decades in the making.
And today we turn the page on Roe v. Wade.
Today, the Supreme Court's 6-3 conservative majority revisiting the landmark decision Roe v. Wade and the key question of when a state can ban abortion.
This is a critical moment. Like our rights are on the line right now. I also help women fund their abortions, and people are scared.
I was 15 weeks old once, and my mother chose to keep me. And I can handle a lot of things, but suffering isn't one of them.
As thousands turned out to rally, inside the court, the state of Mississippi pushed the justices to throw out a major precedent.
Roe versus Wade and Planned Parenthood versus Casey haunt our country. They have no basis in the Constitution.
The pair of decisions in 1973 and later in 1992 saying states cannot ban abortion before a fetus is viable outside the womb, roughly 24 weeks of pregnancy. Mississippi wants to ban abortions after 15 weeks, and today the court's conservatives appeared open to the idea.
Why is 15 weeks not enough time? That's not a dramatic departure from viability.
Justice Brett Kavanaugh considered a key vote suggesting the court should retreat from abortion regulation altogether, letting each state decide.
The Constitution's neither pro-life nor pro-choice on the question of abortion. This court should be scrupulously neutral on the question of abortion.
But the court's liberals fired back on stare decisis, or the principle of letting decisions stand.
The right of a woman to choose, the right to control her own body, has been clearly set for since Casey and never challenged.
Justice Sonia Sotomayor warning overturning precedent would damage the court's reputation.
Will this institution survive the stench that this creates in the public perception that the Constitution and its reading are just political acts?
Abortion rights advocates warned of severe and swift potential impacts for millions of women, with Mississippi and 25 other states expected to ban or severely restrict abortion if the Supreme Court allows.
What will it say if the Supreme Court gets rid of the viability line? What will that mean in the states?
Well, that will really mean that state legislators will feel even more emboldened to ban abortion, to take more restrictions on abortion.
A majority of Americans want Roe v. Wade to stand. 3 in 4 say the choice to have an abortion should be left to a woman and her doctor.
How can you do this to your grandchild?
We saw firsthand this fall the emotional journey behind those decisions, the gauntlet of constant protests at Mississippi's only abortion clinic, and the gut-wrenching personal choice women face inside.
Some women of all ages, have to make this difficult decision in their life.
Nicole, who was 8 weeks pregnant when we met her, told us an abortion is not something any woman wants to have, but must be able to choose.
I do have other children, but I've also lost a child. And so having a child pass away of health issues, you don't want to bring it. You're scared.
27-year-old Erin, who asked not to use her real name, said she worries the right could soon disappear.
I wish there was more places like this, closer, just kind of everywhere.
Clinic director Shannon Brewer told us a Supreme Court decision rolling back almost 5 decades of abortion rights would force more women to take dangerous steps.
They wanted safe, legal abortions. Now you have safe, legal abortions. Now, guess what? You're going to throw all of that away to turn around and have unsafe, illegal abortions? Now you're going to have women dying, women showing up at the hospital, women hemorrhaging, women infections. That's what you're going to have.
As passions raged in the street, most justices today seemed ready to make a break from status quo.
What's most likely is that the Mississippi law is upheld by the court. The question, though, remains, what is the reasoning that they come to?
Legal scholars fixated on the court's new power center, Chief Justice Roberts and Justices Brett Kavanaugh and Amy Coney Barrett.
I think Kavanaugh seems quite convinced that there's a way, that the best way to minimize damage to the court's reputation when it comes to abortion is to let the states decide. That seemed fairly unambiguous to me. Barrett, as I mentioned, was a little bit harder to read. The Supreme Court is going to reverse Roe v. Wade this summer. That's my analysis coming out of this. I think that went about as well for Mississippi as it could have gone.
And after nearly 2 hours of arguments, abortion opponents emerged upbeat, while abortion rights supporters were notably subdued.
What if they try to come up with some kind of compromise? Would that be a good solution? There's no compromise.
There is no middle ground. This is a basic constitutional right about basic health care.
Shannon Brewer from Mississippi's clinic sounding a positive note, but with a dose of realism.
I listened to the arguments, and I think they did a great job at representing women today. And we couldn't have asked for more with that. But otherwise, it's going to be a difficult road now.
Devin Dwyer joins us now. Devin, that conservative majority seeming to signal that they're going to uphold Mississippi's law. So what happens next with the court to reach a final decision?
Yeah, Lindsay, oral arguments are the first time the justices get to hear from each other on the issues in a case they don't discuss ahead of time. So today was just the beginning of the conversation on Mississippi's law and whether they'll roll back Roe versus Wade. This debate will continue in private. The justices will hold an initial vote. Then they'll begin the process of writing the opinions. That can take months. It's dynamic. In fact, some minds could potentially even change along the way. But we do expect to get that final decision sometime next spring, certainly before the end of June.
And the court still has not weighed in on the Texas abortions law, SB 8, that's effectively banned most abortions in that state. When should we expect movement on that?
Yeah, SB 8 was not mentioned once today, Lindsay, but it certainly hangs over all of this. The second most populous state banning virtually all abortions 3 months ago today. The court reviewed that case in a highly expedited emergency hearing, but they still have not weighed in on it. Most legal analysts I talked to said that case will likely get integrated with the Mississippi case, combined, if you will. So a major decision coming on abortion sometime later in the spring. And of course, that means that most abortions in the state of Texas could potentially remain out of reach for millions of women until that time. Lindsay?
Devin Dwyer, our thanks to you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.